beautiful introduction. Good morning, everyone. I hope you are not sleeping. It's a beautiful morning in Oakland, and I traveled from Chicago. So I came here on the 15th, and I am enjoying the talks at LeadDev. Thank you, LeadDev, for inviting me, for giving me this opportunity to present the work. And I have enjoyed Melissa's talk a lot. And in what I'm going to talk today, you will see how we have been very scrappy, with the goal of, in 3 to 6 months, we will be at that scale stage. So from scrappy to scale, I think that's what I'm going to talk today. Okay, so I'm going to start with an introduction to PagerDuty. How many of you, just give me a show of hands, how many of you know about PagerDuty? Almost everyone. That's great. So I'll give a very brief introduction, and I'll move on very quickly. And I'm going to also talk about PagerDuty AI, just a general landscape, because that will give me the opportunity to talk about the landscape we were in before the ChatGPT era started, and what we have done, the pre-mortem work, what we have done, and I'm taking some words from Melissa's talk once again, some pre-mortem work that we have done so that we are prepared, and what was the level of preparedness. So I'm going to talk about PagerDuty AI from that perspective, and then jump on to the second part of my talk, which is our journey, our expedition towards this generative AI journey. And then I'm going to showcase 3 of the features that we are launching. Sounds good? Awesome. Okay, so today's digital world is very complex, and in this world with fast-moving tool and tech stack, changes or failure in infrastructure can cause a major incident. I'm giving an introduction to PagerDuty, okay? So when there is an incident, engineering teams are under huge pressure to resolve the incident and to uphold customer trust, because think of it as a website which is being accessed by millions of users, and some of the users are not able to access that website, or unavailability of data. So PagerDuty, through its SaaS-based platform, empowers developers, DevOps, IT operations, and business leaders to prevent and resolve business-impacting incidents. As we can see in the picture, PagerDuty ingests a lot of data from all these monitoring tools, and with its single view reduces noise, getting the right team member in the room through the on-call routing system, guiding towards possible root cause analysis. So you can see all the different product views that we have. So the incident response has the on-call routing system to get all the right team members in the room. We have the automation tools to resolve incidents, making sure that developers and engineering leaders can solve the incident very soon. So this is the phase that I want to give a short introduction to the AI landscape that we had. So we have 4 BUs, 4 product areas, and we have been working in the field of AI for some time now. In 2019, we started our first ML-based noise reduction algorithm, and by the end of 2022, we had 5 ML features in production. However, all those ML features were inside that AIOps product portfolio. And that was our current stage. Once again, these are the features that we had. And with those features, I also want to talk about the 2 foundational systems that we had built. Number 1 is our data lake. We wanted our data scientists to use data very easily, access data very easily, so that they can experiment often, and they can explore what data we have and what data we might need. This is the pre-mortem work that we were continuing to do in our journey. The second is an ML pipeline that empowered our data scientists and data engineers to build models, productionize them, and hand it over to engineering teams. The ML pipeline reduced the time that the engineering teams required to embed that model in production. So we had 2 pre-mortem work, the data lake and the ML pipeline, which provided us, or which enabled us to build models quickly, reduce our time to market, and scale appropriately. Okay, so how did we go through this crappy time? So 10 months ago, OpenAI released ChatGPT, crazy adoption rates, and if we looked at that market at that time, all our competitors, all the companies were innovating ChatGPT in their product, and we said, hey, what can we do? Let's adopt generative AI and develop some product features. Some key challenges that we faced. New planning. We had a full year of roadmap. Everything was planned. And then suddenly we decided, hey, we are going to do something new. As I mentioned before, we were working with one product BU. So we had a small number of data scientists who knew the people in that product BU, who knew about the data very well, but we really haven't worked with the 3 other product BUs. And when we thought about generative AI, our executives had an idea that we want to do generative AI all across the product. Very good idea, but we didn't have enough number of data scientists. New technology. If I go a few months back, every day there was a new LLM. There was a new LLM infrastructure, new Python libraries. Sometimes those Python libraries were revamped, so all the code that we have used now needs to be upgraded. So it was a very different landscape. Concurrent workflows. We had a lot of people from our engineering teams who wanted to do generative AI. They were very enthusiastic, and we wanted to get everyone together. But however, we did not want to duplicate work, so that was one of our challenges. And the roadmap realignment, because we had a full year of work planned out, and we needed to talk to our engineering leaders and figure out, hey, what are the things that we are going to drop if we need to prioritize generative AI? So this is our multimodal approach. And after this, I'm going to go one by one through this bullet points so that I can explain to you the thoughts, the thought process that we went through during that time. Empower and educate. This is the first thing we realized. So we quickly realized we needed to ramp up the teams who want to work with us in generative AI. We also realized there is a lot of enthusiasm and everyone wants to be a part of this journey. With that in mind, we organized hack weeks with representations from all departments. So we had legal, we had security, we had product, we had engineering. We didn't want to leave anyone out. And we thought that since generative AI requires so much thinking about what feature you want to develop, we want to get all the teams together. We also created several Gen AI-focused Slack channels because we wanted to share the learning. We wanted to share some curated courses that might be helpful. There was too much, there were like too many links to go to in Google. So we wanted to make sure we are narrowing down some of the information that we want our teams to learn. Data Science AI office hours. Our data scientists were holding office hours pretty regularly at that point of time, and just to answer generic questions. Form a core lead group. From a leadership perspective, we decided pretty early that we will have a core lead group. So a group with an engineering lead, with a product lead, data scientist lead, a legal lead, a security lead. So we had a core group. And then we had the executive alignment. And this was very crucial because we had the alignment that every team is going to dedicate X% of resources for this effort. And it wasn't decided what that X would be, but slowly we figured out what that needs to be. Once again, we were very scrappy, but we were able to establish some rules. The first one is involve a data scientist in early conversations. And I want to talk about it a little bit more because when generative AI came along, I heard a lot of buzz saying that, okay, you don't need data scientists. If you're using a vendor, you don't really need a data scientist. That is not true, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. So one of our rules was to get a data scientist in early conversations, start a design document early. It's very useful to write things down because it provides clarity and it helps to gather alignment among all the folks that you are working with. And the third one is involve legal and security early. So data scientists, as I said, we need data scientists. Even if you are not developing an open source LLM in your company, you need data scientists because their role is evolving. Yes, if you use an AI provider or a LLM vendor, their role is a little bit evolving. Here is how we have asked our data scientists to help us. Number one is explore data feasibility. So let's think of an example. If you are using an LLM and that LLM is not trained on the data and the data that you are asking questions for, then it's not going to give you the correct answer. So garbage in, garbage out. Or whether, sometimes people use RAGs nowadays. So we have to think of how to make it possible. Build prompt versus fine-tuning. This is an area we explored with data scientists. Should we do a few short prompts? Should we go towards fine-tuning? Which one is more expensive? Which one is needed? So these are areas we needed to explore. Build within a generative AI feature. As I said, that the LLMs are trained on publicly available data. So some of the data might not be available. And we wanted to see what we should do. Should we use a vector database? Should we have another ML component tied to our LLM? So building within the generative AI feature. Evaluate feature performance. We asked our data scientists to evaluate the feature and see how the feature is working over time. Assess product in selecting the right customers. Sorry, are you saying something?
This one? Can you hear me better? Awesome. Assess product in selecting right customers. So let's say your customer doesn't have enough data, and the first feature that we are launching, and we have an early access program. So when we have a feature, we take it to our customers to see what is the feedback that we are getting from that customer. And in this case, we wanted to select the right group of customers who are willing to share with us the data and also has the right amount of data so that we can see the results. So these are all the action items that we wanted our data scientists to work on. This is also a very critical part of the process where we wanted our teams to come up with good use cases. And these are common use cases, the code generation, the chatbot, the summarization, but the applications and how our customers are going to use it or whether we are solving a problem that they have is what we focused on. So we pivoted to one of our values called champion the customer. The other important factor was determining the LLM of our choice. And we decided very early that we are not going to focus on one specific LLM, but we are going to look at it from a functionality perspective. So let's say we are doing summarization. And this summarization and the summarization that we are going for would require only a short prompt. So in that case, what is the correct LLM? There are other summarization opportunities which would require multiple few short prompts. So then the LLM is very different. So we were looking at it from a functionality perspective. And accuracy, cost, all differs when you look at it from that perspective. We looked at latency. Some of our use cases would require less than 10 seconds latency. And a lot of the LLMs 6 months back required more than 10 seconds latency. We looked at context window. Some of our, once again, use cases have 40,000, 40K windows. So we wanted to use LLMs that provides wider context windows. Data governance, ease of setups, SLAs. These were all very important as we were trying to determine what LLM to use. And then the operating principles to release. So trust is very important to us. And we do feel, well, when things fail and people get paged, we need to be operating very carefully. So trust is very important to us. As we were launching these generative AI features, we went through several steps. We went through internal preview, where we asked our team members to test more, give us feedback. We went through external preview with early access adopters. and we ask them to give us feedback. Then our formal early access, our general access, and for all these features, we have a human in the loop so that nothing gets done without a person looking into it and approving what the LLMs are generating. Okay, so key takeaways. Number one is preserve optionality. We did not want to commit to any of the LLMs or any of the Python libraries because the landscape was changing very fast. All we committed is we are going to build these features in a very scrappy way. We are going to uphold our customer trust, and we would plan to scale in 3 to 6 months. Customer trust is the number one priority. And for that, we wanted we involved legal security from the beginning. We introduced new rules of opting in so that we can let customers know that here is generative AI feature that you are going to use now. And then focus on customer adoption. Show the net value against their jobs to be done. So for all the features that we have in generative AI, we wanted to make sure it's useful to the customer. There is something that we are improving in the customer's life. So I'm going to walk through the 3 generative AI features that we have currently. There are 2 that are also being built, which are more focused on the PagerDuty workflow, but these are in our customers' hands now. The first one is the status update. So going back to the incident management story, communication and coordination are essential to incident resolution. Industry best practices recommend sending status updates every 30 minutes to stakeholders and to external customers such that business speaks in one voice and everyone is updated about the progress. This is a perfect place to leverage summarization capabilities because with one click, we can generate a status update. And this is a very good use case because during an incident, the developers are trying to solve a problem. It's not fair to ask them to also write that status update and send it to everyone. So now what we can do is from all the conversations that are happening in Slack, that are happening in Zoom or Microsoft Teams, we can get all the information together and we can auto-generate a status update, which is very useful because then the developer is not spending time building that status update from scratch. All they are doing is reading it once it's being generated and sending it with a click once they approve. So we have made it easy for responders to keep internal stakeholders and executives in the loop. The next one is the postmortem. Do all of you use postmortems? Okay, awesome. So postmortems, after each incident within PagerDuty, we have a habit of writing postmortems. And sometimes it's difficult because people get emotional. We talk about what went wrong. How can we make sure that in the future these things are not repeated? How can we prevent this error or incident? So it's a little bit emotional. And also, it's a little bit difficult to get the time from all the team members who were involved in the incident because post an incident, they are busy and they have other priorities and they are working in different teams. So it's difficult to get them all together. And now, with all the conversations, once again, that is happening in Slack, we have the logs, we have the metrics. So from that, we can actually generate a postmortem from scratch and we can send it around to all the team members who are involved in that incident and ask them to look at it async and to comment on it, to provide feedback on it, and then they can approve and say it's final. So this is our second use case. Both of these use cases are based on the summarization capabilities, but they're very different because status update is a summarization capability that would require a multi-stage prompt because it's very wide scope, whereas postmortems is very technical and our models need to be trained with the data that we have from before, our historical data. The third one is the process automation job definitions via AI. So PagerDuty has a tool called Rundeck, and with that, people can generate scripts, they can write, automate workflows, and it has been a little bit difficult for all our customers to use that because they need to know HTML to generate an HTML script. So we wanted to automate it for our customers. We wanted to give them a template of writing the script to automate that workflow. And as a data scientist, I was a little bit skeptical before because I didn't know what kind of code ChatGPT would generate 6 months back. But then it's awesome. I think it was very good to see how good these LLMs are on generating code. So this is our process automation, generating code for automating the workflows. That's it. If you want to know more, please look at these YouTube videos when the slides are going to be available. Thank you, everyone. Once again, thank you for listening to my talk and inviting me to give this talk.